Next,
Fantastic.
we're going to queer up the USA View. First ever gay rights picket line at White House will be reenacted April 17th. On Wednesday, April 17th, DC's Rainbow History Project will host a reenactment commemorating the historic first protest for gay rights, which occurred on the same day in 1965. This picket line in front of the White House is credited with drawing attention to the federal government's discrimination against homosexuals. Organized by the Mattachine Society of Washington, D.C., founded by local gay rights pioneer Frank Kameny, the event marks the 59th anniversary of this pivotal moment. The reenactment aims to honor the activism of those who fought for LGBTQ+ rights. During the April 1965 event, picketers, including Kameny and prominent D.C. lesbian activist Lilli Vincenz, insisted that the government adopt demands such as ending the exclusion of homosexuals from federal government employment, lifting the ban on gays and lesbians in the U.S. military, the cessation of the blanket denial of security clearances for gay individuals, and an end to the government's refusal to engage with the LGBTQ+ community. This reenactment event will also pay tribute to Kameny, who passed away in 2011, and Vincenz, who passed away in 2023. Paul Kuntzler, the sole surviving participant from the April 1965 White House picket, will join this week's reenactment. Kuntzler will carry a replica of his original picket sign from the event. The reenactment picketing at the White House is scheduled to commence around 4:15 p.m. on April 17th, mirroring the timing of the 1965 event. Well, this is one of those things that for people who love queer history, as I do, this is as exciting as becoming part of that upcoming Wilma Bridge event. You know, it's another piece of queer history being made. And I'm really grateful that significant folks from our LGBTQ+ history timeline are getting their due. I was thinking about Bayard Rustin, the Rustin movie, and then the Diana Nyad, both of which were on Netflix. So it's really great to see our history represented. And Frank Kameny is such an important figure in our history.
Right.
And if you want to learn more about him, it's my usual show and tell. I cannot recommend Eric Cervini's 2020 book, The Deviance War, The Homosexual versus the United States of America, enough. Great book, and you'll learn a lot about what Kameny did for our community. Great book.
Wow. Yeah, you know, you mentioned queer history, but I think it's American history. And I think we need to make sure that we're telling both sides of that story, and the fact that they had to actually go out and fight for these things, because the American government was very comfortable at the time discriminating against us. I think it's especially important because our youth is very disconnected. And I'll date myself, but this is in my lifetime, right? This is not a long ago history. This is while he and I have been alive. And when I talk to young people and they say, well, I'm not interested in voting, or everybody just seems the same to me. I'm like, you have no idea. Well, you have no idea how bad it can get. Right? It can get worse than this. We've lived it, right? We lived it with AIDS when they didn't mind people dying. They weren't dying, and so it didn't matter, right?
They were glad that people were dying.
Right. And so this is fantastic. Anytime that we can highlight these things and make it part of the conversation and re-educate people, I think let's do it.
You completely took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that I think that there are a lot of, youth, LGBTQ+ forward youth that are just sort of too cool, almost, is kind of the term, I think, when they're too cool to take the time to learn something, or it doesn't affect them directly, in their everyday activities. So, it's lost on them. So I think that this is extremely beneficial to, spread the word and educate, in a positive way.
Yeah, and we can't really move forward unless remembering where we came from.
Absolutely. And that that's kind of like the theme of today's show. We should repeat that a few more times.
Well, they just brought women back to 1864, right? With the stroke of a pen. They don't have to go that far back. to totally decimate our community. On one hand, Wilton Manors is getting awards. On the other hand, it can no longer be a city.
We talk about steps forward and then steps back a lot here. You know, we really do.
Right.
Yeah, we're this little bastion stuck in this state that would love to just consume us and take us away.
Yeah, and so we have to stand up like they did, right?
Absolutely.
And keep doing our part.
Get your picket signs.